A rescue team is combing the coastal waters of the ocean, where a space capsule carrying an astronaut recently made an emergency landing. Soon, they find the capsule and discover Sam Walker inside, who miraculously survived the uncontrolled fall into the Atlantic Ocean. The woman is taken to a NASA medical facility. The first thing she sees when she regains consciousness is a pen floating in the air. Sam tries to reach for it, but the door opens and doctors enter the room. The pen immediately falls onto the table. A group of people examines her, and when they hear about the floating pen, they reassure her. It's all expected after spaceflight. However, something pierced her capsule and helmet, which could affect her health. A bit later, Sam is visited by her family, her daughter Izzy, her husband Mark, and her father William Harris, who works at the Pentagon. Sam is taken to an isolated house, where she must undergo several tests and recover after the flight. She is warned that her body needs time to adapt to gravity, so she shouldn't overexert herself. Sam is shown the house, which is located in a very picturesque place. Moreover, it has everything she needs, even a telescope. But as soon as she looks through it, she begins to experience a severe headache. Strange visions appear before her eyes, scenes of some kind of hunt or manhunt. She's asked to go to her room and relax, since her body needs to remember what it's like to live on Earth. Sam becomes upset because she is scheduled to go to the ISS in 2 months, and if her health doesn't recover, she won't be cleared for flight. The doctor reassures her, saying there's still time. However, soon Sam's temperature begins to rise and a black bruise appears on her arm. Despite this, she tries to do everything possible to adapt quickly. She finds a photo album of her family, but while looking through it, blood suddenly starts flowing from her nose. Sam calls her colleague Val, but during the conversation, she suddenly thinks she sees something outside the window and admits that she's constantly hallucinating. She is literally obsessed with space, which feels like her true home, but her worsening condition terrifies her. Her colleague assures her that she'll recover soon, but advises her to keep quiet about her problems. That evening, Sam once again feels that something strange is happening around her. The lights flicker, strange noises echo, and she feels disoriented. The woman senses that someone is watching her. She checks the house and notices dirty footprints on the floor. Then Sam gets dressed, goes outside, and walks into the forest. Reaching the edge of the woods, she again sees hallucinations of a hunt or manhunt, which cause fear and ringing in her ears. But then her alarm goes off, and Sam wakes up in her bed. Getting up, she notices that the bruise on her arm has grown larger. However, she pulls herself together and goes to the kitchen. But when she tries to make scrambled eggs, one of the eggs suddenly floats into the air, as if affected by zero gravity. Sam pushes it away, but it keeps hovering until the doctors enter the kitchen. Then the egg drops, and Sam quickly hides the mess. Testing begins. The woman runs on a treadmill, completes color tests, and demonstrates her strength and endurance. The doctors conclude that she's in pretty good shape, and Sam herself insists she's ready for flight. When the doctor leaves, she calls her husband to suggest a trip to the beach. But he refuses, explaining that he and their daughter still haven't recovered from the news of her possible death in the capsule. They're proud of her but tired of waiting, while she still wants to go back to space. The conversation is interrupted when Izzy appears, showing a drawing of their family. Promising they'll see each other soon, Sam goes for a walk in the forest, where the visions of people with flashlights chasing someone return again. Soon, the symptoms fade, and she notices a cable under her feet. The woman follows it and finds a hidden surveillance device. Searching the area, she realizes the entire perimeter is surrounded by cameras. She runs through the forest, trips over a root, falls, and then opens her eyes back in her bedroom. However, when she touches her head, Sam feels blood on her fingers. The security guard who entered reports that they found her unconscious on the street. Later, she tells her father, who has arrived at the house, everything that happened. Harris admits that he's proud of her and says that there are cameras installed all around the house, but they're only for her safety. He leads her into a hidden bunker, which he calls a shelter. The entrance is protected by a password, and Sam recognizes it as Izzy's birthday. Her father takes her into the central room, where screens display footage from all the surveillance cameras. In case of an emergency, the entire house seals itself with 3 layers of metal plates, ensuring that nothing can harm her. At the same time, no one is spying on her either. Sam appreciates her father's sincerity and agrees to go back upstairs. Harris leaves, asking his daughter not to worry about anything and to get some rest. However, when she goes into the bathroom, she notices that her bruise has gotten even bigger. Sam takes a photo of it and sends it to Val before taking some pills. Her friend advises her to apply ice and get a good rest. Sam gets into the jacuzzi to calm her nerves, but suddenly she distinctly hears strange noises near the bathroom. She jumps out and tries calling her husband, but he does not answer. Wandering through the dark house, unsure of what's happening to her, she decides to go down to the bunker. But as soon as she enters, an alarm goes off. The AI's voice announces that the lockdown has been lifted, and Sam clutches her head again. She hears sounds resembling a voice and runs toward them, hoping to finally see who's been haunting her. Reaching the switchboards, she turns on the locked breakers and keeps moving. Soon, she approaches an underground greenhouse where something moves behind the plants hidden behind the glass. The woman shines her flashlight at one of them, and at that very moment, something flashes before her. Something she cannot recognize. Terrified, she runs off and reaches the monitoring room, turning on all the screens. On one of them, she notices a dark figure but cannot tell who or what it is. In the next moment, she wakes up with her head resting on the control panel. Her alarm immediately goes off, and Sam barely manages to get out of the bunker before her father and his team arrive. She explains that something is wrong with the generators, and Harris orders the system to be checked. Sam tells her father that someone was in the house during the night, but she couldn't call because the connection was cut off. The man reassures her and asks her to focus on the medical tests. Sam complies with all the doctor's instructions and then shows them her bruise. The doctor becomes concerned. It doesn't look like a normal hematoma. Later, her husband and daughter arrive. While her father entertains his granddaughter, Sam tells Mark about the bruises spreading all over her body. She also admits that she's been seeing things that aren't really there. Specifically, she thinks there are creatures wandering around the house. Sam recalls that while on the ISS, she transmitted signals deep into space, and now she fears that something might have followed her back to Earth. Mark has no idea what's going on, but still wants to stay by his wife's side. Then, Izzy walks in, and Harris asks Sam to join him to review the surveillance footage. But when the woman points out the spot where she saw the dark figure, the recording suddenly turns out to be corrupted. Her father is willing to believe her, but suggests she stay in the house for one more night, and she agrees. When Harris steps outside, Sam hears the system's report stating that there are 9 individuals inside the house, but she assumes it refers to people. Later, she, Mark, and Izzy go for a walk in the forest. The girl playfully gives her mother funny riddles, and the family enjoys their time together. Izzy runs ahead of her parents and suddenly disappears. Mark and Sam start searching for her, but it's as if the ground has swallowed the girl. Just as their panic reaches its peak, Izzy suddenly reappears out of nowhere and shows them a huge beetle. Suddenly, strange hissing sounds come from the thicket, and Sam tells everyone to go back home. They run toward the house when, out of nowhere, enormous beetles fly past them, followed by an entire swarm of these creatures hovering above the forest. The insects cover the windows of the house, as if trying to break inside, while Sam, Mark, and Izzy hide until the creatures finally disappear. Looking out the windows, they see that all the beetles have suddenly died and now lie motionless on the ground. Later, scientists arrive to study the strange phenomena, attributing everything to changes in weather conditions. Sam asks about the analysis of the particles from her capsule, but the results are not yet ready. The woman asks her husband to take their daughter home, but he insists that she come with them. Sam, however, cannot leave. Mark promises to come back to her that evening. After her family drives away, Sam notices that her skin has grown even darker, and the nail on her big toe has fallen off. She bandages herself and opens her laptop to look up information about the insect's abnormal behavior. The articles mention geomagnetic disturbances, UFO sightings, and reports of people being abducted. Sam's condition worsens. She examines herself and sees that the darkness has spread across her back. Then, the same thing that happened the previous night begins again. She runs to the bunker and answers a call from her husband. The woman begs him to come because she is certain that something is in the house. She rushes toward the surveillance room but falls on the stairs and realizes that her skin is starting to peel off. To make things worse, her phone shatters in the fall. Sam somehow manages to reach the control room, where the system reports that 2 life forms have been detected inside the house. Through the static, she makes out the silhouettes of alien creatures, and then the cameras begin shutting down one by one. Sam activates emergency processing and hides under the desk. Soon, she sees a member of an extraterrestrial civilization who is clearly searching for someone. She tries to hide, but the alien pursues her. Sam's arm throbs in pain. She rushes into the bathroom, removes the bandage, and is horrified to see that her skin has nearly come off. Her hand is changing. Then she hears the alien's voice and crawls out of the house through a ventilation duct, just as Mark's car pulls up. He tells their daughter to stay put and runs to help his wife, who is being chased by the creature. However, Izzy gets out of the car and points to a light glowing deep in the forest. Realizing that Samantha is heading that way, the family follows her, unaware that Harris and his team are already arriving at the house. He reminds his soldiers that they are dealing with very dangerous beings and orders them to stay alert. The troops search the house, shining flashlights everywhere, while Sam runs through the forest, her body glowing faintly through the suit. Eventually, she collapses from exhaustion and falls to the ground. Then, an alien steps out of the shadows and begins speaking to her in a strange language. To her surprise, she understands him. He tells her that they missed her, because she is part of their family. The alien asks her to remember and touches her forehead. Sam immediately recalls the same vision where humans surrounded several aliens. The being explains that he managed to escape while Harris found her. Since she had already taken the form of a human girl, Harris took her in. But all this time, the aliens had been searching for her. Suddenly, Harris appears from the darkness, determined to capture all the creatures. Pointing a gun at her, he orders Sam to return to the house, because she is not human. Sam cannot believe his words. She is torn between the home she has known and the world that now feels strangely familiar. When Harris is about to shoot, Mark lunges at the general. A struggle breaks out as Sam completely transforms into an alien being. Izzy and Mark gaze at the creature in shock, then beg her to run. Sam hesitates as her kind call to her from their ship. Then Izzy reaches out her hand and promises that they will see each other again soon. Sam leaves, and moments later, they watch a spaceship rise above the forest, carrying the aliens away from Earth. That is where the film ends.